concrete things that I can either do or investigate my ESX server to change if it's wrong, to help my ESX server run better. I'll just leave it at that, leave it open to interpretation. So 3 concrete things. Think back to your just ESX days. Yep, go for it.
So we weren't prepped with these questions, if you didn't tell, and it's only 9:25 in the morning. So 3 things. 3 things I would do to look at my ESX server. So personally, I would do a right-sizing investigation, right? So if I have existing servers, back to Chris's point, how many things are out there in the environment that aren't configured the way they need to be, right? That kind of got provisioned because we didn't know the requirements of the software, we didn't know it was going to be running, and it's just been out there and it's just churning along idle most of the time, or there's resources being wasted. So I would investigate my resource utilization. I would also look at
what's it, VM or ESX?
VMs. Both. All of them. Along those same lines, I'd actually dig into, I run into a lot of people actually that don't really understand the fundamentals of how we do resource management, right? So they've actually gone out and set reservations, they've set limits, they've actually got stuff that's sitting around in the environment that they didn't know was there. And I'd actually go back and start to look at those things as well and tie that back to the utilization of the virtual machines and the servers themselves and start to understand, did we deploy something back in the day we thought we needed to have X amount of reservation, and now we've changed versions over a number of times and we don't need that reservation anymore. We've set shares, we've done resource pools as folders, right? And some of those basics that we know now we shouldn't be doing, right? And start to investigate that. And then the third thing I would do, man, the third one's always the toughest.
You're going first, so it's actually easier.
It actually is, because you're just going to say what he said. The third thing I would actually do is I'd start to look at some of my strategies, right? So I actually was working on a residency for a while a couple of years ago, and there wasn't really a patch management strategy, right? And there was a lot of servers, right? There's a lot of physical hosts, and this is on the host side, not on the virtual machine side, and start to think about how I can manage the infrastructure, right? People start to throw virtual machines on ESX, and they tend to forget about that foundation, and they forget about what do we need to do to troubleshoot, ESXi or troubleshoot vSphere at its core, right? And what do we need to do to keep that patched? And how long is it going to take to patch something? How long is it going to take to vMotion 45, 50 VMs off of one host in a 12-host cluster? And how long is that patch going to take? And then when we move to the next one, how long is that process going to take over time? Right, so it looks easy, but by the time you're done, you're 3 days into your patching for one cluster, and you've got 10 more to go. Right, so think about that as you go back to your data centers. I think those would be my 3 things.